Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Valkyrie, and he's in the Smaland, a tier 10 pan-European premium destroyer. He's on the map Islands of Ice, in a 3-point domination game. It's a pure tier 10 battle, not too many battleships around, no carrier, but 4 raiders. Oh well, and he's already found a Des Moines. Now, the Des Moines is almost in radar range, so that could become complicated. Oh, and he was briefly detected before the radar, right? Yeah, exactly. That's the Shimakaze here. Now, the Shimakaze is trying to smoke up, but Smaland does have radar itself, right? And I mean, you know, it's he's radared himself anyway, so obviously Valkyrie is just going to pop his own radar and keep shelling this Shimmer. And honestly, he's taking surprisingly little damage there. The Shimmer is not really like, why is this Shimmer not firing? Seriously, Shimmer, what, like,
We destroyed
okay.
their destroyer.
So unfortunately, no torpedoes hit the Des Moines, and this entire thing took long enough that the Des Moines is no longer radaring. Now all he has to do is wait a little bit for the gun plume to disappear, and yeah. Well, okay, that Shimmer was torpedoed, and you know, speed boost would have also come in handy here, I think, but it looks like he got this. Good job, Valkyrie, good job. So, nice dodge there. That's a great start. So he basically gunned down a Shimmer with taking surprisingly little damage, and he survived the enemy radar, and now he can turn around and grab the A-cap, possibly. Now overall, the friendlies don't really have much in the center, so they're going to lose this. They've already lost C, and A is contested. But you know, I mean, the friendlies have a lot of ships here, right? And Valkyrie is already on his way back into the camp. Now the Des Moines is behind this. This can be really annoying, because this island has basically, this cap basically has 2 islands, right, one on each side, where you can sit behind and just contest the cap for all eternity. You need to push in really hard to dislodge somebody sitting behind those islands. So this cap can result into quite a long stalemate. Of course, if you have this many ships, right, you'd hope that they push in. The problem is, right, we have the 3 cruisers in the front and we have the battleships in the back. And what you'd really want at this point is a battleship just sail in there and basically dislodge the Des Moines. The Des Moines doesn't have torpedoes, and the destroyers here are gone. So nothing would stop a battleship from pushing in. Well, I mean, you'd be under fire from a thunder ramming them out, but I think you can take those 2 while you push. And with the superior friendly forces, they should really just get this flank. Of course, Valkyrie just has to take things in his own hands, and he's announced in chat he's gonna YOLO that Des Moines. Now he's speed boosting. The thing is, he's not detected yet, right? A Des Moines is really scary. A Des Moines has pretty high DPM, and at this range it's gonna hit, and it's going to take a huge chunk of your hit points. The thing is, if he's like in 2 kilometers, the Smaland torpedoes are relatively fast. They're not Halland-torps, but yeah, he's actually at 1.8 kilometers. So this Des Moines is only going to get 1 salvo off. And wait, it's not even getting 1 salvo off. Okay, this Des Moines got caught with its pants down. And since he didn't fire his guns, he's now undetected again. So this worked really well. Now unfortunately, the friendlies still don't have a cap. They are 1 ship ahead though. It looks like he's thinking about shooting the Thunderer, but I'm not sure, right? Priority, I feel like right now should be capping. I mean, he can get 1 salvo off and then disappear behind an island or something. Maybe he can even make this island use as cover, but I don't think so. Yeah, he's really tempted to shoot, but the friendlies just desperately need a cap. So I feel like that takes priority. Now, yeah, his RPF is pointing at the destroyer here that's closer than the Thunderer. And he is warning his team of that occurrence. And hey, it looks like he found the destroyer, so it's a Halland. Now the thing is, Halland just can't compete with the Smaland EPM, right? Halland's advantage are the torpedoes. But, well, we will see if the Halland gets a good torp launch off. That's always risky in a situation like this. Because especially if you have to show a lot of broadside to use all of your guns. Also, yeah, the Minotaur seems to have taken interest. The Yamato and the Thunderer are actually relatively close, right? If that Thunderer is paying attention and shoots you, you can expect to lose a few thousand hit points. And the Yamato could be rather dangerous too. Yeah, you see, that was the Thunderer. And that was armor piercing, right? That Thunderer had armor piercing loaded currently and didn't have time to switch. If that would have been high explosive, this would have hurt a lot. Okay, so far Valkyrie got 2 of their destroyers, and he got the... well, he finished off with him more. So far so good, he still has 2 heals left. Trying some torpedoes there on the Yamato. I mean, you know, the Yamato could be speeding up here although right now. You'll never know. For all we know, it's gonna turn away and turn for the zone wall anyway. So far, the friendlies still don't have a camp. Whenever Valkyrie tries to take this, he's either getting interrupted or, well, blocked. But, you know, it's finally gonna happen. Now, the enemy has a lot of ships here in the sea camp with 2 well, only 1 raider now. And the Descent. We have the Daring still there. I wonder if the... I guess the Daring doesn't want to abandon his team there. Would have been nice if the friendlies had managed to, like, secure the center that's been empty. But, you know. Meanwhile, there is a secret meeting of the enemy forces going on in that square. I'm not sure why, but I guess this is just a very interesting square there. Maybe there is some buried treasure. Overall, ship-wise, it's starting to look rather decent. The enemies still have the points lead, of course, because, you know, because for so long the friendlies didn't have camps. And the set is now in the B camp. Now, the set's Hydra is powerful and definitely something to watch out for, but Valkyrie does have a raider, so that might be an interesting confrontation. Valkyrie is running a bit low on health, but he should have another heal ready by the time he engages the set, I think. And right now he's also trying to torpedo that Thunderer. Although, it's the usual thing, right? You watch a ship, you are like, yeah, it looks like it's going in a straight line, you launch your torpedoes, and the second afterwards the ship starts maneuvering. Oh, there is the set. Now once again, here is an issue. If he engages the set here, the Yamato, the Thunderer, and possibly the Minotaur will all have shots at him. The Minotaur with its range is probably the easiest to dodge. But Yamato and Thunderer at those ranges, right? We already saw what the Thunderer did with armor piercing earlier. And he was angled there. So not the biggest target. Well, anyway. The set's here now, right? So no time for debate. It's just time for pew pew. And this is going surprisingly well. Okay, there is some incoming damage there. Heal is going. And yeah, that Minotaur is trying, but easy at this distance, a Minotaur has really trouble hitting. The biggest threat once again are the battleships, and here comes the Thunderer again, but this time he misses. And here comes the Yamato. Well, that's also mostly a miss. Well, that's nice. So far, Valkyrie has sunk 3 destroyers and finished off anymore. And finally, the friendlies are actually taking the objectives, right? So, I mean, okay, he's now taking B, and the friendlies have pushed into C. The enemy is down to a few ships that, you know, maybe should have shown slightly more aggression at some point. But what remains to be seen is if he can unleash the Kraken. Now, I don't know if that Minotaur has radar or smoke, but, well, the Stalingrad is very far away. Right now he can hopefully just go in there and torpedo some battleships. Of course, the battleships are running for the zone wall because they are battleships and they actually hate playing this game. That's my conclusion for most battleships. They don't really want to play this game and they spend most of the time inside a battle trying to get out of the battle. I'm laugh crying here at this point. Anyway. So if that Des Moines has radar, he has now entered the...
Engine boost deactivated.
Well, there's a smoke over there, right? Was that the Minotaur's smoke? I haven't been paying attention. There were 2 Minotaurs and one is divisioned, but it's divisioned with... Oh wait, there was a Des Moines and a Minotaur division. Right, okay, so this Minotaur probably has smoke. You usually don't division a radar Mino with Des Moines. Because you already have the radar and you'd much rather have the smoke. Although, interestingly enough, you know, that Minotaur was not together with that, like the Des Moines. Wait, there are 2 Des Moines. Okay, forget anything I've said. I'm not sure which Des Moines a Valkyrie actually yoloed. So, anyway. Yeah, okay, the Mino has smoke. As we've established right now. But, Valkyrie is trying to not be detected by the Yamato, but stay rather close in hopes of unleashing some torpedoes and unleashing a Kraken in the process. I mean, ship-wise, the friendlies have twice as many ships, although, you know, that's 3 against 6. There are some low health ships around, so I guess that could switch. But it seems unlikely that the friendlies would lose at this point. And as long as Valkyrie doesn't screw up, I think he will always be able to carry this to victory, based on the points. So Yamato is slowing down. Valkyrie is expecting this Yamato to basically continue to slow down and go into reverse because it's a battleship. And, you know, battleships don't actually want to be at the front lines. So he's being shot at, so the Yamato does the only reasonable thing in a battleship, trying to get out of there. Okay. So those torps don't look too bad, and this could finally be the Kraken. There we go, and of course those pan-European torps don't hit that hard. But, well, if you hit enough of them,
Enemy battleship destroyed.
it's gonna seal the deal. And there is a lovely Kraken. Now there are still 2 enemies remaining. Meanwhile the friend is also down to 5 ships, but... Actually, let's have a look at this fleet here. Yeah, there are some... You know, Kurfürst... This is how your Kurfürst should look at the end of the game, right? This Kurfürst is barely floating. That's alright. That's how we like our Kurfürsts. Anyway.
Engine boost
Yeah.
deactivated.
Minotaur here is in the open, so I don't expect this Minotaur to survive much longer. But there is still a Thunderer that is once again coming towards the battle, sorta-ish. Bit late for that, but you know. He might have reminded that he's actually inside this game. And that he, maybe he tried to leave the battle and found out that there was a zone wall, and so he decided, oh well. Maybe it's time to actually play now. So... There's still an option for 6 kills, I guess. The Minotaur, interestingly enough, still alive. Friendly's down to 4 ships. You see, ship-wise, this isn't really that decisive. And once again, you're reminded that if the enemy team had... I mean, you know, early on, the enemy ships at the Aetam were a bit outnumbered, so they played passive, but they missed the turn of the tide when they should have pushed in. When the friendlies sort of dispersed, when they could have come back. They basically just never left their sniping mode. Or kiting mode. And it's costing them the game. So it's now 3 against 2. Well, or is it? Yeah, okay, maybe it's 3 against 1. Speaking of 3, it's 3.5 minutes left. The Minotaur is showing up again. That Minotaur could actually farm the daring there, depending on how this goes. So, also, I just noticed, right, the daring is called Harry Dresden. Dresden Files, pretty good book series, can highly recommend. But that's a side note. So Daring is trying to top the Minotaur, right? The friendlies don't have like a battleship anymore. Well, they have a friendly Minotaur, but you know, shelter every time and such. So the enemy Minotaur doesn't have to be afraid to be in the open. Or at least not that much, right? So that Mino can push hard, and if it comes in with a Hydra against the Daring, honestly, the Daring is probably gonna be pretty screwed. Yeah, so that Mino is pushing the Daring. The Daring is taking a beating. And I suppose the Daring is gonna die here. Daring also doesn't have torpedoes. Well, the Daring is holding... I mean, okay, if you angle against the Minotaur, there is always the problem of the armor piercing only. See, now it's 2 against 1. But it's only 2 minutes left, right, and the friendlies do have the points. We take a look at the... Yeah, the friendly Minotaur is obviously a lot more healthy. But in a Minotaur versus Minotaur battle, like if somebody gets too broadsidey, that can seal the deal. Now what Valkyrie is doing is going for the A-cap, right? There is no reason to get involved in this fight. The safe way to win is just to ignore this and sail towards A. I mean, if the friendly, the enemy Minotaur is, why is he trying to smoke? So the enemy Minotaur dropped the ball a bit. So yeah, that brings us to the results, and the enemy Minotaur really should have just kept charging. Like, smoking up isn't gonna do anything if you don't have spotting left anyway, and the clock was ticking down. He was in a bad spot because he was facing a Minotaur with more health, but at this point, you know, you just charge, right, and hope for the best. But be that as it may, Valkyrie earned himself a lot of experience in this one, so very well done. Very well done. He also achieved the Confederate Dreadnought, a Kraken, and a First Blood, scoring 129,000 points of damage and sinking 6 enemies. And while his damage total doesn't sound so impressive, when you look at how much damage he did to destroyers, it's a different story. Like, basically he did 17,900 to the Shimmer Caset, then 17,895 to the Hallan, and 13,669 to the Set, right? I mean, he kinda sunk the Shimmer alone, the Halland almost alone, and also did at least half a set, more than half a set. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you next time.